Yes, we discussed a controversy that has arisen in the class in recent days involving two of our colleagues. Those two individuals are present here within these walls at this very moment. What you're about to witness is something that is quite, I suspect, will be quite interesting to all involved. Yes, let's set the stage here briefly. What is the issue at hand? The issue at hand involves these two individuals. This is General Weberstein. He was a general. He was a general for the Wehrmacht, the German army, on the Eastern Front. Took part. He was involved in the Battle of Stalingrad, you recall. On the right side, we have General von Hoffenberg. Don't let the idea of him looking like a Hollywood star mess you up. No. That is the real General von Hoffenberg on the right. Now, what is the issue at hand? Mice in German tank engines, you recall, during the Battle of Stalingrad, that hindered the German effort to relieve the embattled Sixth Army that was trapped in Stalingrad. It was the mice that broke in, as it were, to the German tanks, looking no doubt for some heat during the bitter winter. And the gist of it was they chewed on the tank engines, the wires and so forth, disabling the tanks. We mentioned that here in class a while back. Well, General Weberstein mentioned, mistakenly, that it was rats that chewed the tank engines, the wires in the tank engines. However, General von Hoffenberg immediately jumped to his feet and said, that deserves 10 points off. Now the question is that a just amount? Or is that just a minor slip? Rats, mice, close enough, one might say. The History Committee has opened up the possibility for one of you to become an attorney, a lawyer, for General von Hoffenberg. Is there any volunteers that would like to be the lawyer to represent General von Hoffenberg in our discussion today? I see that hand here. You want to represent him. Do you have arguments to support his 10 points off rule? Okay. Do we have anybody that would like to be the attorney for, Mr. Bostwick? All right. And we have Judge Payne that will decide what is appropriate. Let's hear opening arguments. Opening arguments for the idea that 10 points off is just. So if you come up to the front and speak on behalf of your client, von Hoffenberg. Oh, excuse me.
May I please record this?
No. This is a closed session. Okay, go ahead.
All right, I represent my client, Mr. General von Hoffenberg, in the matter of the mice versus the rats in these tank engines. And there is a grave difference between mice and rats. They are definitely not the same thing. So I believe it would be safe to say that calling a mouse a rat in this instance would be the similar thing as to calling, like we have these other things that we've been talking about in history, like world leaders. And it would be a similar mistake to mistake that, Churchill was responsible for, like, the death camps in Nazi Germany. Which was not Churchill. It was,
that is a stretch.
So
a long stretch.
Mixing up two names of two things that are completely different and saying that one was responsible for the other is a very serious crime. Well worth deserving 10 points off.
Right. There are some supporters of Hoffenberg here. Okay, all right. So you think it's appropriate?
I do.
Okay. Would the client like to speak on his behalf? On his own behalf?
I would.
Yes,
Can I take a stand?
you can.
My attorney, Jared, has a well thought out argument with the 10 points, and I would agree, even though I have also made the mistake of mixing mice and rats together. That is not.
Wait, whoa! He just shot himself in the foot.
Because I admit my wrong. Whereas General Weaverstein here did not. Therefore, this conclusion should be taken off.
That's a stunning admission.
Wow.
You're right.
So we get cross-examination.
Did you record that? No. Actually, record that. Right there. Now, we need to document this. That was a stunning admission. Stunning. Yes. All right. Let's hear from the attorney for General Weaverstein.
First of all, can I cross-examine the witness?
Yes, you can.
All right. Did you lose 10 points for confusing rats and mice?
I did not.
No more questions. All right. First of all, I think my opponent's on thin ice comparing Churchill to a rat. I think the History Committee probably would not like that. Second of all, in making animal distinctions, I mean, we know that this is kind of a pattern with my client. He's mistaken a couple things, but he hasn't lost 10 points for it before. So if we compare the 10 points that is threatened right now versus the nothing, except maybe a hard time that's happened before, it's kind of a bad idea to give him such a bad rap for something that we haven't been punishing all along in the same way. It's inconsistency by the courts. So I think that by this point, we should probably give Max a little grace. They are different things, but so are a moose and an elephant, and we didn't complain about that.
Yes. Good point. Why didn't that come up? What's your client have to say about that? Other comments? Would General Weaverstein like to take the stand?
I think a wise man doesn't in this instance. Counsel, keep my mouth shut.
Yeah, we saw I had the other guy. That didn't work out good. Okay, now it's time for the judge. I'll stand in honor of our judge. I'm not going to Judge Evan Payne, to the front, please. Gathers himself, gathers his materials.
Needs a wig.
Straightens his robe.
I'd like to state I've spent a long time building this case, so please hold your applause and or emotional outrage until I'm asked. So we've heard both sides of this case. Here's why.
Okay.
We have to ask ourselves, is this what the History Committee would want? For us to have contention between us? Would our author Johnson want us to live this way? I don't believe he would. My fellow colleagues, I personally subpoenaed the General Secretary of the History Committee. I've seen Weaverstein's essay. It is, in my opinion, that the whole discrepancy between mice and rats was merely a joke. In fact, I read the whole essay. His whole essay was a joke. In the opinion of this adjudicator, this essay should not be graded on historical soundness. But in terms of humor, this essay deserves nothing short of the highest of marks. My fellow colleagues, I have been charged with this cumbersome task of passing judgment on our fellow colleague, General Weaverstein. The evidence written by Max's own hand clearly shows he was making a joke about the field rats and did not intend to rewrite history as von Huffenberg would have it. Therefore, it is in the opinion and advisement of this adjudicator that the History Committee acquit Max on all charges, and in celebration of the preservation of history and truth as we know it, all quizzes be suspended for the next week.
Yeah. Amen.